Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to take you guys on a journey. In fact, this is gonna be a video unlike anything you've ever seen on the channel before, and it's something we've wanted to do for a while, but quite frankly, didn't have plans to do anytime soon. But we had something happen recently that prompted this, and in the spirit of Thanksgiving, we're feeling extra grateful for everything we've been given. And we actually just got done building a new truck that kind of sparked this whole idea because it brings back some memories of where we started, where we came from, how this whole thing came about. So, ladies and gentlemen, what you're about to witness is the evolution of Dave and Dave, the Diesel brothers, where we came from, how it started, how insanely difficult some of the times were, how insanely wild some of the locations and different shops and buildings we ran our businesses out of. We're gonna pull back the curtain and give you guys an uncensored look into the struggle that made us who we are today. And again, the idea was prompted from one of our newest truck builds. So keep in mind, this video is not about a truck build. This video is about life, about progress, about the ups and the downs, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I think you guys are really gonna enjoy because it's one hell of a story. Let's buckle up so that we don't get the seatbelt haters.
That's a good idea.
All right, guys, so basically what this video is about, like I said, is in the early days of our business, we started with pretty much nothing and we had to just figure it out. Nobody gave us any money. Everything that we were able to build, we built by fighting tooth and nail. So the reason why, we had the idea to do this video today was because we just got done building this truck that we're calling the US 24 valve. This is a third gen Cummins 6-speed manual, and it was inspired by one of the first trucks we ever built, which we called the US 12 valve.
My favorite trucks ever.
The US 12 valve was an old red dually farm truck that we bought at an auction. And the plan was to just, maybe clean it up a little bit, turn around and sell it. We called the truck Rodeo Rose. And then one day I got the idea to put a flatbed on it. Well, we couldn't afford any of the flatbeds at the time, so we decided to build our own. And we'll take you through that journey here in a little bit. But essentially, we just got done building this truck yesterday because this is our Black Friday giveaway truck and the last Diesel Power Gear giveaway truck that you'll ever see. So there's some significance here. But as this truck was coming together, I was walking through the shop yesterday and I just had to take a second and really kind of soak it all in, because the difference between this truck and the first US 12 valve that we built, it's like literally night and day. They're two completely different planets. The US 12 valve, we didn't even have a budget. We were just pulling stuff out of thin air trying to put that truck together. And we did it, and like I said, we built a very iconic, very cool truck that people all over the world fell in love with. And then as I looked at this one, I see a bed that we designed in-house on SolidWorks and 3D designing, and everything about this truck is just pretty much immaculate. All the way down to the custom stitched, leather interior. Like, this truck is no joke. And for me and for Dave here, it was just a moment of, reflection, looking back, like how far we've come and how cool it is to see that progress. So where we're headed right now is basically where it all began. This was my first dealership location and my first shop location. And when I say it's because this is where I started when I got married back in like 2011, before Diesel Dave and I had even decided that we were gonna do this together. Up until this point, we had just been doing excavation together, and then Dave took off and started running marathons on the Great Wall of China and started just living his life as a bachelor.
You're a vagabond.
Meanwhile, I had just recently got married and I was trying to figure out what I was gonna do for a living. So I think this first location is really gonna open your guys' eyes to really just how little we had when we got started. So buckle up, because this is gonna be fun. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ground Zero. This was spot number 1. Now I gotta explain to you a little bit how this one came together, because this was the first location that I moved my dealership business into right after I got married. At this point, I still didn't have a shop. And this is kind of where the shop idea was born. So I'll show you. You're gonna be looking at this building And you're gonna be thinking, that place isn't a dump, that's a nice office. And you're right, because it wasn't mine. So the only way that I could get into the car sales business to be able to operate under a dealership was to partner with a friend of mine at the time, TJ Chapman. Big shout out to TJ. TJ's like a big brother to me. He'd been in the car business forever, and he knew that I wanted to try to find a way to buy and sell cars, but in order to sell cars in Utah, you have to get a bond. And I couldn't get a bond because I didn't have any money. So this was TJ's office right here. We didn't rent this whole building. In fact, I'm pretty sure we only rented like one office, and we just kind of loitered in this lobby area that we weren't necessarily supposed to be in. But as I grew and decided to branch out, this is where I picked up my first employee. Come on, buddy, right here, this man, ladies and gentlemen, first employee.
Yeah.
And the best part was I didn't really even have a real business when I hired him to be an employee. I was working under someone else's business and just kind of like, did I ever pay you? No. I gave you a car. I gave you a Land Rover.
Yeah.
Insert picture of the Land Rover. I paid him in a Land Rover for like a couple years worth of work. So anyways, Cole came in to help me sell cars, and we were slinging cars.
Dude, I loved it.
It was the best.
This was the best time of my life. We were like, what, 24, 26 years old?
Yeah, just innocent, had no idea what we were doing, no money.
Did not know who we thought we were.
Yeah, Cole. There was an old man who used to rebuild cars out of the back of here, and Cole and him just never quite saw eye to eye. And one day they got in an argument, and the man says to him, "You're not who you think you are."
And I said,
and
you're damn right.
And Cole's had an identity crisis ever since. I started in here with maybe $500 to my name, if that. And we used to buy cars from the auction right down the road, and we'd park them here right out front, and I'm talking $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 cars. And so I learned that business, and it got to the point where I wanted to grow. I wanted to do more, but I didn't have a shop. I didn't have anybody to work on these cars, and I was kind of using TJ's guys a little bit, and they were busy and it wasn't really working. So that's where Sparks Motors was born, but it wasn't called Sparks Motors. It was called Carro de Fuego, right out back here.
Carro de Fuego!
Right over here, you're gonna see through this chain link fence a bunch of storage units and a bunch of little garages. Now, we didn't own those. In fact, I wasn't even able to rent one. But right here, basically a single bay garage that's designated as a storage unit. Well, I walked back there one day and saw some Mexican fellas, Chris and Jose. I heard some music jamming, I heard some cars getting worked on. I was like, awesome. These guys could work on my cars instead of using, you know, TJ's mechanics who were in the garage next door.
Was it Camino over here?
Yep, we had Camino over here, had
right
Martin, a bunch of painters, a bunch of people that we know in the automotive world here in, you know, Salt Lake. So I went over to Chris and Jose one day, and I had a van that I bought from the auction. And I said, hey guys, this van's got a bad engine. I want to put an engine in it. Can you do it for me? And they said, absolutely, we'll give it a try. Pulled it in there, and they just did a kick-ass job. Really quick, really fast. I was like, all right, I think I might be onto something. And for about 6 months, we went back and forth, me bringing them cars, and they started kind of pushing some of their own clients out because they didn't have room or time for them because they were doing all my stuff. I would literally buy and sell anything I could get my hands on. You'll see in some pictures here that this was the location where I did my first aircraft deal. I bought a salvage car from the auction and traded it for a little rotorway helicopter. Well, then I took that rotorway helicopter and then traded it for an airplane. I then sold the airplane or traded it for another car. The trade deal had like 5 or 6 different components to it. This is also a building where I purchased my first big like exotic truck. It was an International CXT. Didn't use my money, used a friend's money, bought it, sold it really quick. Other memorable vehicles from this location, my first dually on basically big dually wheels that are super popular now. Had 24.5s that were shaved down.
This is where Ibuck was born?
This is where Ibuck was born. That was like my first modified diesel truck. So this was it. Like this is where I kind of got a little bit of a rhythm, and I thought, you know what? We're doing so well. It's time to branch out and do my own thing. So I reached out to some friends of mine who owned a dealership, and I said, guys, let me take that dealership off your hands. I'll run it for you, and I'll work on buying it from you over the years. And I'll do all the paperwork. You guys can buy and sell cars. You don't have to worry about any of the paperwork. I said, okay, deal. So in doing that, I said, TJ, I'm going out on my own. It's time to move, time to spread my wings, get my own location, sign my own lease, and, you know, hit the big time. And I moved right next door. Come take a look. And it was literally like a dream come true for me. It was huge, tons of acres out back. I had a shop, but the guy was asking, I think $4 or $5 grand a month for the whole facility. And I was like, dude, I can't afford that. I can give you $2 grand. What will you let me rent for that? And he's like, all right, I'll tell you. He gave me basically an office space kind of the building, because it was just almost abandoned at the time. And then there was a garage right here. And my goal was to bring my mechanics from Carro de Fuego, Chris and Jose, over to here and have them basically work out of the shop. So I set up a really neat office. I started bringing cars in. This place was awesome. I have a picture that I'll show you here in a second of a couple of vehicles parked out front. Like I said, it looks way different now than it used to, but that was my inventory. There's like a Land Rover and an Audi or something, like 2 cars, $10,000 worth of inventory, and I was just like, you know, living it. This is where I learned the hard lesson of cash flow. I was in this building for about 3 months when I ran out of money. Landlord was like, hey man, you know, I'll work with you. He was really generous, really nice. I just realized that I wasn't gonna be able to make it. So my big dreams, costing me $2,500 a month, soon ended. And I had kind of burned the bridge over here with TJ. Not necessarily burnt the bridge, but it was like, I wasn't really welcome back, and I really didn't want to go back, because once you step out on your own, you want to stay on your own.
You don't want to move back in with mom and dad?
No. So I didn't want to move back in with mom and dad, and that's where we end up with location number 3, which is where we're gonna go right now. One of my really good friends and mentor, a guy named Rich Eggett. He started Rockwell Watches. I've worked for him on and off since I was like 18. And he had his Rockwell building set up over here. And at the time, I was still kind of working for Rockwell Watches, doing some marketing stuff on and off. And I said, Rich, I still want to work for Rockwell and help you, but I also have this dream of having my own dealership, and I need an office. So he said, come on over, Dave. And I said, I don't have a lot of money. I just got kicked out of my last spot. And he's like, we'll just figure it out. I think in this location, I started paying about $500 per month in rent for my office, and you guys are about to see where we started to pick up a little bit of steam, a little bit of momentum after my devastating failure at location number 2. This location came about roughly a year, maybe 18 months after I first kind of started selling vehicles. And again, like I said, this was in the parking lot and in the same building as my friends at Rockwell Watches. This is their Rockwell World headquarters, and they had a tiny little sliver of an office over here that, like I said, my friend Rich basically told me I could use. This was the door, this was the entrance, and the office was basically,
You know this is their main entrance now?
Is it really?
Yeah, ever since someone broke into the front building, they broke the glass.
It went until right here. Basically, this was it. So essentially, this was an opportunity for me to kind of hit reset and figure out cash flow, figure out how things worked, figure out how much money I needed to be able to operate. Like I said, the last building, I couldn't afford the rent because I wasn't moving enough cars. So we came in here, very low overhead. I was able to park a ton of cars. The only problem with this location was my mechanics weren't here. There was no shop, there was no garage. They were still overworking the storage unit back behind location number 1, behind TJ Chapman Auto. And it was working, but I had this grand dream of being able to, you know, have my own place with my own shop and office and everything all together. And that's where location number 4 takes us. Let's go. The cool thing about the Rockwell compound here is, since they're all, you know, good friends of mine, and this is just where everybody hung out. But we've done some wild stuff in here, which I'm gonna insert some video clips here of some of our early videos that were created.
Hey, my food, sucker!
And some of the early wild vehicles that I bought and sold. In fact, this location was where I had my first experience with a tracked military vehicle. I convinced a company to basically let us use it for a little while, and that all happened right here. So it wasn't a Sisu Nasu, it was the Haglunds, which is basically another version of the Sisu Nasu. I'm gonna buy and sell anything I can, and that's why I have such a random assortment of pictures and videos and vehicles that I was selling through this location because it was hustle time. It was whatever I can find. So I sold everything from, you know, someone's grandma would hit me up and say, hey, I'm looking for a new Buick, and I would go to the auction and find her the best Buick ever, charge her $500, and I kind of started getting a reputation for being able to help people find really good auction vehicles. Didn't make a ton of money on each car, but I made enough to be able to keep moving and, you know, build up a little bit of an inventory and some savings. Like I said, in the back of my mind, there was always this dream of being able to have a facility where I could have my shop and everything all together, and that's where we're headed now. Also, a fun fact for you guys, the original US 12 valve, the reason why people love that truck so much is because it had a manual transmission. Had the old 5 or 6-speed, I can't remember what it had, but in tribute to that original truck that everybody loved, this 3rd gen 5.9 Cummins also has 6-speed transmission, as you guys can see me driving right now. And this truck is clean, super low miles, like barely 100,000 miles, I think. 5.9 6-speed Cummins. This is like one of the most iconic diesel trucks of all time, so that's why we had to build it. This was back before they put DPFs on trucks, so this truck just has the original exhaust system of a muffler and a catalytic converter, so...
You're gonna fall in love.
You are. This is back when, simpler times, pre-2007, when trucks were just simpler. I do need to tell you that this video is not a sales pitch, but this is an opportunity for you to win that beautiful truck right there. That is one of the coolest, best trucks that we've ever built, and it's the reason why we're filming this video today, to show you our progression as a business. And it's the last truck we're ever giving away through our company, Diesel Power Gear. So it's the shortest giveaway, only like 10 days to enter. So starting literally right now, we're doing Black Friday deals, we're doing bundles, mystery packages, insane discounts, and every single one of you who places an order is getting entries to win that truck. Every $5 you spend is another entry. I will tell you this, the odds are probably better than they've ever been because the giveaway is so short. So if you want a chance to get really, really awesome merch for incredibly low prices and entries to win one of the most iconic trucks ever built, which is basically the US 12 valve, but completely improved. Everything's pretty much perfect on this truck. Not like our original US 12 valve, which was beautiful, but she had her things. This truck is up for grabs. So if you could, and if you want to, go ahead and click the link in my description below, get entries to win the truck, and then continue watching this video because we're about to show you guys and reveal some of the most insane things that we've ever been through as business owners. And I think some of this is gonna really blow your mind. So get some merch and win the truck. Keep watching the video. This truck it's sweet. Location number 4 is where this guy came into the picture.
Yeah.
He was always in the picture. He was just kind of like bouncing in and out of the picture. He was just hanging around. He wasn't committed.
I was the ace he had up his sleeve.
He was playing hard to get.
All it took was a nice, sexy picture of a tow truck.
Which I have.
Yeah. I'm out, middle of nowhere, China. I get a message that's just a picture of the tow truck, and then a message that says, are you ready to make some money? You really do have it.
I sent him a picture of a tow truck, and I knew that funds were probably running low because his summer sales career wasn't really popping off.
It wasn't super lucrative.
But he was having fun.
A lot of friends.
But I said, I got a tow truck, man. Let's go make some money. And I'm about to show you guys what our original business model was. I even have the original flyer in here.
Oh.
Yeah.
We should go knock some more doors right now with that flyer.
We should.
Print it off. Welcome to location number 4, where I joined the picture. Where I came, got in a tow truck, saddled up, tried to help this guy make some money, and actually took refuge living in a hammock in this office and showering with a garden hose over here in this open
and
bay.
sleeping on a trailer right here, which is in this picture, which is, I'm probably gonna put it in the video, not here.
I upgraded to hammock once it got cold outside.
So guys, let me explain to you this location here, because this was a big one. This is obviously kind of like an industrial warehouse complex where it's got a little office space and then warehouse space in the back, which when I came and figured out, you know, the lease here, I told them that we were not working on vehicles. I told them that we were just storing vehicles because technically it wasn't set up to be a shop. And the way it works is, I think there's there's like 5 units in this building, and our unit was right here from this wall over to there. And I believe this was about 6,000 square feet total. Yeah, this all looks way better than it used to. This used to be basically just like a rugged old door. So obviously quite a bit of office space in here, okay? I only needed one office to buy and sell cars, so the rest, one became Dave's bedroom.
Right there.
Yep, there
That's
she
my
is.
bedroom right there.
And then I'll tell you in a minute how this became our first shipping warehouse.
I almost blew the surprise right there.
But like I said, a lot of interesting things happened in this location because this was where, I can't remember if I called them or went over and saw them, but I went to Chris and Jose over at Carro de Fuego, who were still working on my vehicles, but running their own business. I went over and I said, Chris, I got us a shop. And I remember thinking that he was gonna be like, all right, let's do it. And he was very skeptical. He's like, he had seen how much I'd bounced around and he was nervous to leave his location where he was at and come sign up with, to basically work for me. A guy who had just got kicked out of a couple of other spots and was kind of low on cash flow. But I was able to convince him that this was the spot and we were gonna be able to make it, and we moved. We moved the shop out of the storage unit, and that's when I hired basically my first real employees, which was Chris, Jose, Chris's son, and Paco. And then,
Paco.
And then around the
Paco
exact same time was when I hired Dave to come work as well. So we went from a one-man band to like a 5 or 6 man band. But interestingly enough, like I said, this area was not zoned to be automotive repair and all the other stuff that we were doing, but we were doing it. So Dave's first day on the job, I hit him with a task. I said, Dave, hide all of our vehicles.
See these privacy slots? A decade ago. That had to have been 2012, right?
Yep,
2013?
it was.
I put all these in. I went down, spent all my hard-earned money from my paycheck, bought some privacy slots.
And I'm pretty sure I made him buy the privacy slats that he installed.
We were
for
running
the
low
business.
on some of the areas here.
So this is a very interesting spot for us because obviously this is the first location where we started investing in the actual property, and this was the first location where I actually started buying tools. I bought my first welder here, and I bought my first orbital sander.
No, we call those parking brakes.
My first orbital sander, which I was so proud of, and I put Diesel Dave to work sanding a truck right here. He put it on the ground and ran it over within maybe 6 hours of having purchased it.
It might have actually been in the bay.
No, it was right here. I remember it right
Really?
here. I remember like it
right
was
there.
yesterday. Well, it was between the bay and here, but either way, he smashed a brand new tool, first tool that I had invested in the business.
I've never felt so bad.
And it was a rough moment, but
Never got paid again. I'm still paying back on that one.
this was a pivotal moment for us in our business because this was where we had kind of found a little bit of a rhythm in what to buy and what to sell. And we had found that now that we have mechanics working for us, we thought, sky's the limit, we can do anything. And so we took on some projects that we had no business doing. First one that we did here was we took a mega cab Cummins, brought it in, and we saw that the other shops had been stretching the frame to make a long bed mega cab. And I said, we can do that. And I have pictures that I'll show you here of me and Chris and Jose, all three of us, very little experience with fabrication at that time, cut a truck in half, threw some frame extensions in it, and we built our first long bed mega cab. And it turned out awesome. It was actually one of our most popular trucks early on. So we stretched a few trucks here. We started doing engine swaps. We put a diesel in a Land Rover here. This was the location where I actually bought my first set of snow tracks, mat tracks at an auction. I put those on a Land Rover, and then I put those on a Toyota Tacoma, and then I ended up putting them on my wife's Tahoe. This was the location where the creative juices really started flowing, and luckily, we were still making enough money to be able to cover rent. One of our early business models was, the reason why I got Diesel Dave working for me is I bought the tow truck, and our plan was the auction was really hard to buy at that time. Vehicles were selling for super high, it was kind of tricky, so I thought, you know what? We're gonna go buy vehicles from people's backyards, and then we're gonna take them and resell them either here after we fix them up a little bit, or we're gonna resell them at the auction. So I'll show you.
I took all of my summer sales skills, put me on the doorsteps, knocking doors with this flyer he's about to show you.
May 23rd, 2012, I came up with this bitchin' flyer. Cash for wrecked cars, and I even got a custom phone number. So this is when you know we're just cooking. Like we are doing well, and so Dave's out knocking on doors trying to buy cars. That business model fizzled out pretty quickly because
you hit 50-50. You got guys that are super stoked to get trash out of the backyard, usually the wife, and then you got the guy who's never been more offended in his life that you offered him $500 for his piece of treasure in the backyard.
Yep, and that's when at the same time Dave was out knocking on doors trying to buy cars, I was trying to find custom builds. And another picture here is a guy brought a school bus to me with a picture of a convertible school bus. And he said, hey, can you guys build me a convertible school bus for sightseeing in downtown Salt Lake? And I lied and said, absolutely we can. We got this. And so I took the job, and it was a big job at the time. I think it was like 10 or 15 grand. And he showed up with a school bus, and I told the guys, I said, guys, this is it. Like, this is a big moment for us and a big money maker, so let's make it happen. And so you'll see some slides here of us cutting the roof off of the bus, hauling it away on the tow truck. I contracted people from all over the place to help us weld it and paint it. And we built the sightseeing school buses that drove around downtown Salt Lake, and it was a hit. It was awesome. They turned out amazing. The fabrication was but the paint covered up some of the welds, and that was when I realized that we could do anything. Once we stretched the frame on the mega cab and made it a long bed, we cut the roof off of the bus and made it a convertible. We put tracks on a Land Rover. I thought, nothing can stop us. We can literally do anything. We're the most, high tier shop in the state. In my head, we weren't. We had one Harbor Freight welder and a orbital sander that had been smashed.
We would do with that.
Yeah, being me, I'm always looking for that next step, that next, moment of growth. And one thing that really bothered me about this location was the fact that there's only 2 doors, one in the back and one in the front. So getting things in and out was an absolute nightmare. And a lot of our vehicles didn't run, so it was just a fight getting them in and out of here. Right around the same time, I started thinking about, maybe trying to find another location that was more shop-like, is when Diesel Dave started sending me silly videos of him driving the trucks home from the auctions. And then I would take those videos and I would just post them on the internet, on Facebook, to my 10 friends that I had. And they got like 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, thousands of likes. And I'm like, this is more people than I know who's watching these videos. And that's when I discovered the concept of something going viral. Maybe we're onto something. Maybe we could put more videos on the internet, and if we create videos and online content, didn't know anything about YouTube at the time, if we do this, then people will see our dealership and our business, and they'll come buy trucks from us. That was my thought. So we started doing it, and the videos started taking off, and they started growing, and they started really, picking up steam. And that's when I thought, I don't have enough trucks to sell, and not everybody wants a truck. I gotta find something else to sell. So that's when we started a company called Rollin' Coal Gear, which is a name that I'm not proud of. Back then, Rollin' Coal was the thing. We were young, we were dumb, and we sold t-shirts that said Rollin' Coal on them because people were watching videos of Dave driving the trucks that we were buying from the auction. And so if you look right over here, you'll see the evolution happening. We're buying and selling trucks, then we start modifying trucks, then we start creating videos. None of this we knew that we were doing intentionally at the time. Then the videos start getting traction, we start getting lots of attention. We figure out we gotta find something else to sell. We come up with apparel and t-shirts, which we shipped out of here. Our very first apparel and t-shirt business was shipped right out of Dave's office. This was 2013. So
you told him how me and your mom were already rolling up XXX sweaters and putting in prepaid envelopes?
So in selling merchandise on the internet, my idea was we're gonna save money by saving money on shipping. So we're gonna use UPS flat rate. So we started selling stuff online, and turns out a lot of our customers were bigger dudes, like 3XL, 4XL hoodie guys. Well, I don't know if you ever tried to put a 3 or 4XL hoodie in a UPS flat rate box or envelope, but it's not easy on the small parcel. Diesel Dave and my mom would sit in there, and they had just a sweat lodge going, rolling up shirts and stuff. We would take packages to the post office every day, and
they'd be like taped together because they're busting at the seams. And I would haul in this cart full of these.
Yeah, it wasn't
really
UPS, it was USPS flat rate, small, medium, and large. And we were shipping the small because I think it was like $2.50 or something at the time, super cheap, but the apparel didn't fit in them. But we made it fit, and it was your customer service, your marketing team, HR, your everybody was me, him, and my mom.
That door right there in the middle with the window wasn't there at the time. That was my office, and I hung a hammock from the back corner to the corner by the door. And Dave actually got me a computer, and I could watch a movie at night, and I'd swing my hammock. And then I'd load the envelopes out here, and I'd walk out in the morning, do a big stretch, greet the day.
And his shower would be right there?
Yeah, my hose would be right there because it was vacant. So I propped the door open because we didn't really have keys to it. Turn the water on. When no one was driving by, just hurry and do a nice wash of everything and head on back to work.
I was all in at this point, fully committed. But fortunately, we were modifying and selling enough vehicles that it was covering itself. And that's when, like I said, I needed a shop that was more of a shop. And it needed to feel like less of a warehouse and more of a destination. And that's when I found out that the old pizza freezer storage building literally directly behind us, one block, was moving, and I wanted it. And that's where we're going now. Location number 5, the freezer building. Ladies and gentlemen, location number 5, the frozen pizza warehouse. Now, as you can see, this spot is bitchin' for a shop. It's got a bunch of bay doors, it's got a lot here, and I saw this thing come available one day because I saw the pizza company kind of moving a bunch of stuff out, and I said, hey man, what do you got going on here? And he's like, well, I just bought this as an investment, and I don't know what to do because they're just giant freezers. And I said, I'll make you a deal. I will come in and we will take the freezers out, tear them completely down, open them up so that they're usable buildings, and I need you to give me a couple of months free rent, and then I also want to be able to keep the basically freezer panels. And he's like, okay, deal. We came over here and started tearing down freezers from inside these buildings with a tiny little forklift that we paid $800 for that was called El Puerco or El Forker. Once I realized that the freezer panels that I was banking on selling for like 30 or 40 grand, nobody wanted them. Dave and I thought, you know what, we need a paint booth. We can't afford a paint booth. We're gonna build a paint booth out of freezer panels. And you can't quite see it here, but we built a giant, we cut a hole in the side of the building and built a paint booth door out of freezer panels, and then we built the paint booth inside out of freezer panels, and we started painting cars. So ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce you to the home of the original US 12 valve. This is where we bought the old Rodeo Rose Ram truck at the auction, brought it in here, and just started figuring things out. I started building a flatbed by just literally scratch. I learned how to weld in high school. I didn't do much welding between high school and when we moved in here, but I got back into it and I started putting this thing together, and this is literally where it was born.
That bed's where I did my first welds ever in my life.
Unfortunately. But it's cool to see. That's why, again, this video is so cool to us, because you see the progression of this insanely well-built, beautiful, you know, US 24 valve that we just got done building at the home of where the concept was created. And the US 12 valve, it was a beautiful, cool truck, but it was rough. And I'll be the first to admit that it was pieced together, like I said, with no money, no budget, just a bunch of hopes and dreams. Another key build here was rock crawler buggy, Diesel Dave.
Let me tell the story. So we had a truck here that some guys from Wyoming were gonna buy, and we had this awesome rock buggy that when it would rain, we'd come out here, we'd do some donuts, be fun, great times. Well, these guys from Wyoming show up for their truck. It's not quite done. So I'm like, hey, let's go for a ride in the rock buggy. We take it out. I go do a donut in the end of the road right there. And lo and behold, it's in 4-wheel drive, and I go flunk right onto its lid. Luckily, the 3 Wyoming guys were buckled up, but there was one guy who wasn't.
We have a picture that we'll insert of his bloody head.
Yeah, I got thrown across into their lap. I said, are you guys okay? Good. And I'm dripping blood onto him. I sprint back to the shop, grab the truck that they're trying to buy with a rope, pull the buggy back up before any of the cops see, and pull it back into the shop before I get caught. Then I go down to the breast enhancement doctor and have him staple my head shut.
This all happened because I was like, it was date night or something. I needed to go be with the family. So I just like, Dave, these guys are gonna come buy a truck. Can you go sell it to them? It spiraled, as you can see, pretty quickly. This location was also notorious because this was where we built our first giveaway truck, the Built Diesel 1. This is working back and forth between this shop and this office in Salt Lake. We decided that we wanted to give away a truck. This is where we really started doing things that caught people's attention from all across the country, because we were building and modifying trucks that in a way that people really hadn't seen before, especially not in front of millions of people on the internet. This was where I decided, again, I wasn't happy enough with the location. I wanted to find somewhere that could be a hub for both the marketing office and the shop. I hated the fact that they were separate. It drove me crazy because I would just miss stuff all day long being at these different locations. So location number 6 was where I thought, okay, we've got office space, we've got shop space, we've got marketing space. This is it. And that's where we're headed now. So in mid-2014, we moved into this spot that we're pulling into now. And we're here, location number 6. This was where I thought, boom, we're gonna be able to have a shop, we're gonna have a marketing office. It's a cool, like, octagon-shaped building.
I hit the jackpot. This house is gonna be the coolest house I've ever lived in.
But the reason why we wanted this area was because back here was a giant shop.
The 3rd or 4th paint booth we ever built.
Yep, so right after building the freezer paint booth, we were in that building again, maybe less than a year. Came over here, no paint booth. So we built a paint booth out of plywood. Probably the most dangerous thing you can do, and code enforcement didn't like it, but we still had to keep the builds rolling, and the original owner of this building was still operating out of here, so we always kind of butt heads. In fact, when I say that, I mean, we had this basement office and the upstairs office. Dave was sleeping here.
The one with the blinds, that was my room right there.
But there was also an old lady sleeping here too that we don't know.
The one with the blinds right there, that was her room.
We don't know, don't really know who she was. We think she was a friend of the building or she worked there or something. It was kind of a weird deal. They kind of had this weird relationship where they both knew they were there, but they didn't really acknowledge each other. The vibe was just kind of off here, okay? We needed the whole building, and the people that were still renting or owned the building weren't quite ready to shut down their business and move out yet. So there wasn't enough space. This was where we didn't have time to be messing with buildings, didn't have time to be messing with anything because the diesel sellers business, the diesel power gear business was taking off, the shop business was taking off, YouTube and Facebook, all of our videos were really taking off. So we needed to stay focused on, like, we had got a tiger by the tails. We got to figure out how to just run the business and not worry about moving around and fighting with neighbors and stuff like that, which is what takes us to location number 7, where I was finally able to consolidate the office, the shop, put everybody in one big happy building, including when we started having conversations and our first visits with Discovery Channel. Let's go. You guys are still with us? Oh man. You have probably gotten worn out by just watching all of these moves. Imagine being the one doing them. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we are now at location number 7. And this was where we were finally able to consolidate the shop and the diesel sellers marketing office, which obviously we established are two very different things. You see, the shop and the shop office can kind of be in their own little world together, but the clothing department, all that kind of stuff, that's where we ended up having to have, you know, a space big enough for everything. And we moved in Diesel Power Gear headquarters, basically right here. The owner of this building also owns the buildings next to it. So this was the perfect place to set up the office, kind of a clean area, shipping, warehouse fulfillment. We were shipping a ton of Diesel Power Gear out of here.
This is when we first started printing shirts.
Yeah, it is. We set up a whole printing press in here. 2014 we were in here. And then right down the road at the end of the street, we occupied basically half of those shop buildings. So that's where the shop was, and we built an actual real paint booth for the first time. So 3rd paint booth, no, I think technically probably the 4th paint booth we'd built, but this one was actually legit with fans and stuff. And
what do you say about my freezer paint booth?
Nothing, it was great. This is a very special spot because this is also where, right as soon as we moved in here, Discovery sent out their original film crew, and they're like, hey, we want to film you guys and see if there's maybe a show here. And they came out and they filmed with us, and they saw the way that we pretty much just ran this. This is a dead end, kind of a cul-de-sac over there. So we just pretty much ran this whole street.
Did you watch the intro to the show when Dave and I are running next to each other?
Yep.
This is the road.
Yep, you'll recognize this area from a lot of our videos actually, because this is when we finally had everybody all under the same roof, kind of, and we were also going full speed ahead on creating video content and, you know, creating new apparel and merchandise and stuff. So
this is where you tried the 2-wheel stunt for the first time.
I did.
Right,
I rolled a 4Runner right here in front of the shop. So once I realized that Discovery, so they came out, they filmed the pilot with us, and then they called us a few months later and said, hey, done deal, like, we're doing a show. We're buying 8 episodes, let's make it happen. I didn't love this as far as, like, I wanted something that felt like a compound. That takes us to our final resting place, which is where our current facility is now, which is location number 8. So after being here we were in here for probably 8 to 10 months. I don't think we stayed anywhere for longer than...
Were we not here for a year?
We moved here It might have been close to a year because we moved from here in April 2015, I remember, because we had to be in the new building before we could start filming for the TV show.
I remember I felt like we
started
finally settled down. I was like, we finally have a place.
Yep. Our next location, which is our current shop, was an area that I've always loved. I've loved the building. It was a dump for the longest time, but I always saw so much potential in it. It was backed up to the airport. One day I was driving by and I saw that the cars that kind of were there forever weren't there anymore. So I could tell somebody was moving out, something was happening. The building looked really run down. So I just stopped in to see what was going on and kind of like, well, I'll show you guys when we get over there. But basically it wasn't on the market, wasn't available, but I made it available. We are going to pack up and take you guys to the final spot, and then we'll give you a couple of other little kind of inside tidbits of information about how we got to where we're at, what we've done, and more importantly, what we're doing now, because we are making some serious changes moving forward and got some big announcements for you, so let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome home.
Home sweet home.
Oh. This is it. This is where we landed after moving 8 times. Location number 8, I don't want to say the last location because I'm sure we'll somehow, some way move again, but this was what I was looking for all along. All those years of bouncing back and forth from, you know, frozen pizza joints, borrowing office space from a friend down the road, everything in between. I broke a lot of leases, lost a lot of deposits, lost a lot of building improvement money, but we ended up in pretty much paradise.
We did, and we kind of snowballed and gathered a lot of friends along the way.
Yeah,
Crew.
this wasn't easy either. When we first got this building, like I said, I drove by one day and it was looking very run down and abandoned, but I saw some sort of movement, and I always wanted this building, but it was never for sale, so I just walked in. And a guy named Steve was in here walking around, Steve the plumber, great guy. And I was like, hey, sorry to bug you. I was just curious what's going on in here. You know, are you the owner, you know, renter, whatever? And he's like, I'm the new owner. I just bought it. I needed to spend some money this year for taxes, whatever. And so my real estate agent told me to buy this place, and I bought it. And I looked around and I was like, man, this place it's a mess, because it was a mess. It used to be a fiberglass fabrication facility, and the inside of here was just full of old machines and equipment and just nasty. It was in rough shape. And back here was just basically grass up to here. No asphalt, nothing. So I said, we'll come in, we'll clean it out, we'll improve it, we'll do everything. We just need this place, you know, really quickly because we're going to start filming this TV show. So that was, I think, February 2015, and he agreed to it. And we moved from February, March, April, like 3 months. We completely renovated the place, repaved it. We did a lot of work, and I think we invested about $350,000 in improvements, which was crazy because we never had that kind of money ever in any of our buildings or any of our business. But you know, working hard, and thanks to you guys and the support from you and the successful truck giveaways and everything we've done, we've been able to build this wild, perfect facility for us. This used to be, originally was a helicopter hangar for a big helicopter operator that was based right out of here. And you'll notice that there's airplanes always flying by because the backyard is the runway. So perfect for me as a pilot. We fly the helicopter in and out of here. I also have hangars on the other side where we keep some of the other airplanes and stuff. But this is the perfect home base because the building blocks the road and allows us to be able to do cool stuff back here. We've got like 2 acres of asphalt. We've got room for all of our project vehicles, and it's a great for YouTube, great for TV show, great for the office is huge. We have a storefront where we're able to ship out of here. We're able to fabricate, paint, powder coat, everything that we do here. All the stuff that we learned how to do over the years that we kind of hodgepodge together came together in this facility, and it was literally perfect for it. Obviously, there's a lot more details that go into our journey and the ups and the downs and the almost bankruptcies and the getting sued every other week and just literally nonstop. Everything you could possibly think of, we've been hit with, and we're just glad to be here, and we're grateful for your support. So with that said, guys, this truck behind me, this beautiful 2006 Ram 3500, it was a dually, just like old US 12 valve started off as.
Old Rodeo Rose.
She is gonna be the last diesel power gear giveaway truck we ever do. Now, I say that with a caveat, we're not gonna stop giving away vehicles. we're just gonna completely change the format here on the next upcoming giveaways. So the way we've always done it in the past, $5 for a t-shirt, this is it. So if you wanna own a piece of Diesel Brothers history and you know, the last truck out of probably like 125 that we've given away over the last 6-7 years, she's up for grabs, and it is beautiful. This truck is damn near perfect. I mean, if you look at it, this bed was handcrafted. Well, first of all, we designed it here in CAD SolidWorks in our shop, and then we built it on all of our, you know, new modern fabrication equipment that we have, not our Harbor Freight welders like the old truck was built on. It's got custom stacks that are actually really cool. The bed's got toolboxes, it's got side skirts, it's got a gooseneck. The truck is running roughly 10 inches of lift because it's got 40-inch tires. You can adjust that up or down for whatever you need. But we wanted it to be big, showy, but at the same time usable. That's why it still has the gooseneck hitch and the toolboxes and the side guards to put stuff on the top of the flatbed and the tie down points. But this truck's no joke. It's one of the cleanest 3rd gen Cummins I've ever seen. Like I said, 6-speed manual, low miles, right around 100,000, and just completely untouched as far as performance goes. Nobody's ever put tuners or anything on this thing. I think, the true definition of a grandpa truck, and it could be yours. And this is the shortest giveaway as well as our last giveaway ever. So you've got between now and the end of this month, November 30th, to get entered to win this truck. So if you want it, this is way different than any of the other giveaway videos we've done in the past, but I'm just gonna tell you guys right now, our Black Friday deals are insane because since we are transitioning away from the old model, we have a bunch of stuff that we're just gonna sell for less than we've ever sold it for. We've got awesome bundles, we've got mystery boxes, we've got all sorts of stuff, and the time frame to get entered is so short that it means less people will get entered, which means the odds of winning are naturally gonna be better. So if you want some of the best odds ever on winning one of our best trucks ever and some of the best deals ever on our gear, now's the time to do it, guys. That's all I'm gonna say. We're not gonna pretend like we stole or recovering a stolen truck or anything like that. I know you guys didn't love that video. And the whole purpose of this video, like I said, wasn't to necessarily talk about this truck. It was to talk about our journey, because this truck reminded us of just how far we've come, and it's something that we're damn proud of. We're setting something really big and great and awesome aside to make room for something even bigger, better, greater, and something that is a natural next step in our evolution and growth as business. And I can tell you right now that we're gonna blow your minds with what we've got coming out soon. But in the meantime, you guys should blow your minds with some of our Black Friday deals and get entries to win this truck, right?
Right, definitely, 100%.
Yeah, you getting emotional over there?
I'm done crying. You made me cry for the last 5 minutes. I dried my tears before you panned over.
There you have it, guys. The story of Diesel Dave and Heavy D and everybody else involved. It literally is like a giant circle. We ended up right here.
Right next to where we started.
Yeah, but bigger, better, badder, which is the theme of everything we do, which is why what we're doing next is gonna be fade off into the sunset.
Oh, sunset's that way. Yeah. Sunset.